Mic test 1, 2. All right, guys, we'll get this show started in a little while. In about 20 minutes, I guess we'll go live in about 20 minutes. So if you're out there watching, I guess we call this pre-show of M's Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio and shortwave. And you may be on x.com watching us, or you may be on Facebook watching us. I don't know. But if you will, join us on our live channel, w5kub.com. That's where we have a chat room. And tonight, Hambot is going to be giving away a prize to one of our viewers out there. So you got to be in the chat room to win. You got to be in the chat room at w5kub.com. So, check it out. And if you're out there listening on International Shortwave Radio, WBCQ on 7490, out of Monticello, Maine, we're not live to you. It's Thursday for you, but you can't join us on chat. But we're on every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock Central Time, and if you just found us, you can join us on Tuesdays. All right, just checking everything. Tonight we are streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Yeah, all three at the same time tonight. So don't know how it's going to work out. Hey, if we crash, we just crash. We'll try to start it back up and recover. But I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I don't know if Glenn's going to be with us tonight. Glenn says he may join us audio only. He may be driving. You guys know Glenn moved from Olive Branch, Mississippi over to Conway, Arkansas. It's about 150 miles west of here. And he moved last week, but the moving truck did not show up. So he had no clothes, no furniture, no bed. I haven't heard if he found a moving truck by now. I don't know. I would imagine he has. Maybe he'll check in tonight with us. I got a report from I talked to Martin F. Jew tonight, founder of MFJ Enterprises, and I'll give you a little update on Martin a little later tonight. And tonight we're going to be talking about baluns, ununs, half-wave antennas, random length antennas, which we used to call longwires back in the day when I was a ham. And Hambot is going to give away a prize tonight to some viewer. So stand by. We used to play 60s music and different music pre-show while we're setting up, but I think Facebook would probably put us in a copyright infringement. We didn't have that problem on YouTube. Of course, we have a license from BMI, Broadcast Music Industry, where we pay each year for to be able to play music on the web, and we would always get selected as copyright, issues even on YouTube, but they never did anything about it. And we tried to share our license with them. And there's nobody at YouTube to talk to. They're all robots, so we never really we just kept taking a hit on that. But I'm afraid if it went out on Facebook, they'd probably cancel my Facebook group, and maybe also do that on X or Twitter, whatever it's called nowadays. All right. I'm waiting for Brett to join us. Brett will be joining us live here in just a few minutes from Wyoming. So we've got a list of things to talk about tonight. Hey, we're gonna check out some artificial intelligence tonight. We're gonna check out some artificial intelligence for ham radio and see how accurate it really is. I played with it a little and I was kind of impressed with it. So we're going to do that tonight. Let's see who we got in the chat room here. N0RC, been down sick the last 2 weeks. Man, what's going on up there? N0RC, I hope you're doing better. Yeah, hello, John. KC7DRI just joined us. John, out there. And guys, I'm assuming, I need to look. I'm assuming that we're on Facebook. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. I don't know. Let me look. I think we are. Yep, I think we're on Facebook. Facebook's kind of picky. It took me a couple days to figure out how to get our show simulcast over to Facebook. They changed something last month. They took out the API, threw it away, and it made it more difficult to connect in and stream live on Facebook there. All right, let's see. Trying to see. Well, I've got it streaming on Facebook now. I want to stop. Maybe I'll do it right there. Nope, I didn't do it. I did it. Okay. Trying to stop it. I don't need all this streaming coming back to me. It's nice just to be able to look every now and then and see that we are streaming to the different services. So I don't know. We're streaming. We're streaming out to 3 social media sites tonight: YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We're streaming at about a steady 12 megabits per second. Looks like our CPU is running about 47%. Maybe it'll hang in there. I don't know. We'll see. You know, we've got the Huntsville Hamfest coming up soon. In about a little over a week and a half, I'll be down in Huntsville. Man, it's going to be fun being down there. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to be at the Shelby, North Carolina Hamfest. I think some of you guys might be coming to Shelby. If you are, try to look me up. I'll either have my red shirt on or blue shirt on that says W5KUB. You should be able to find me there. All right, well, right now, Facebook is beating Twitter 2-1. Typically, Twitter has been hanging in there equal to YouTube, maybe going ahead of them a little bit, but right now they're about half of what's on YouTube, but it's a little early. We'll see what goes on there. So if you're out there listening to the station, there we go. We're on WBCQ on 7490 kilohertz out of Monticello, Maine. That's a picture of up. Hey, here's a picture of July. Look at that snow, man. 5 feet deep, man. I don't know when, that's probably winter time, but they do get a lot of snow up here. So we're on every Thursday up there starting around 5 o'clock Eastern time. You can find us on 7490 on WBCQ. All right, where are all my helpers tonight? I may be on here by myself tonight. But if we are, it's okay. I can talk about things. We're going to talk about some baluns tonight, ununs tonight, matching, antenna matching. We're going to open a couple up, show you the inside of some really well-built ones. I'm going to show you some that aren't so well-built that were sold on the market. So we're going to give away a gift certificate tonight for R&L Electronics. R&L is up at Hamilton, Ohio. So we got a gift certificate, and it has an expiration date on it, 6/11/2029. So, man, you only got 5 years. You only got 5 years to claim this gift certificate. Let me check out the chat room, see what's going on. KD5 PUR, welcome. Good to see you in here tonight. Hello, Clifton. K8 FTH. Oh, kidney stone. That's probably not fun, the kidney stone. I've never had one, but I hear they're not fun. Oh, man. Feel sorry for you. Okay, KG5KS just joined us. Hello, KG5KS. I wonder if that's his initials or if he's in Kansas. I don't know. Welcome back, Andy. I'm looking forward to getting over to Huntsville. That is one of the best ham fest. Man, we wouldn't miss that thing for anything. It's so clean and so cool and air conditioned and so handy, man. The convention center is built right onto the hotel. You don't even have to go outside. And it gets hot down there, but you don't have to go outside. All air conditioned, all the way from your hotel room to the convention center. I'm seeing a little flutter noise on the channel. I don't know if you guys, when I'm not talking, I don't know if you guys are hearing noise or not. You know what? I have a ceiling fan on. I bet that's what it is. Let me turn this fan off because it was getting hot back here. I did bring the air down. Let me go turn this fan off. All right. I'm not sure that helped much. Anyway, let me know if you're hearing a lot of noise when I'm not talking. I think I'm just seeing something here, but I don't think it's really going out. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, John. Interesting. I can turn the mixer all the way down, and I still see the sound on the VU meter on the webcast. So I don't know. No. Got up to 98, huh? I don't know what it is here. I know this past week we've had, it feels like, temperature of 113 here in Memphis. 113 feels like. That pretty much keeps me from doing anything outside. Well, I got about 7 minutes until showtime, and Brett is not here. My helper is not here. I don't know what's happening. Hello, Phil, AG4ST. Good to have you tonight. Again, we'll get the show started here in about 8 minutes, 7 minutes or so. I usually try to bring the show up early to get, our remote guests connected in and work out any issues. And a lot of times we have technical issues. And that's why we started up so early. But the show will be starting in just a few minutes. Of course, Hambot will be with us tonight. Yeah, Phil, good to see you, man. Yeah, guys, don't mess with Hambot. That's for sure. You don't want to mess with him. KM4QBC. Hello, Jeff. Got a special guest in here tonight. KM4QBC, Pastor Jeff, our friend that lives just right over the mountain from our home over in North Carolina. So he's in Tuckasegee, North Carolina. We'll say hello to Jeff, KM4QBC. Jeff has won a prize on here. In fact, that's how I met him. We were giving away prizes one year in Dayton, and KM4QBC won a prize, and we asked where he was, and he says, I'm in Tuckasegee, North Carolina. And we started drilling in more and more where he was. He probably lives about maybe less than a mile from our home over there, just right over the top of another little mountain over there. Anyway, yeah, okay. You know, Jeff, I don't know if I've got, Jeff also, I don't have it here, I don't think. Jeff plays in a band too, man. They call it the Three Dead Possums, yeah. The Three Dead Possums, and he plays the guitar. Man, I wish I had it up here. I'd put it on here and play it real quick for you. Let's see. I might can load it. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I can find the Three Dead Possums. We still have time. The show hadn't started yet, so let me see if I've got it in my file here. We're gonna play some Three Dead Possum tonight, guys. We're gonna do it. Oh boy. Well, I got a lot of videos to look through. I'm gonna try to find it here. Let's see, what did Jeff say about lost the Facebook? Huh. I think we're still on Facebook. Yeah, okay. Man, I'm looking for the Three Dead Possums. Let me see if I can find it. Come on. Oh, I wasn't expecting to play it tonight. Wasn't expecting to do it. Tell you what, I bet you, I'm not going to be able to find it. It's almost showtime. Not going to be able to find it. Man, I wanted to play that for you guys. The Three Dead Possums came over on our front porch one night. We actually opened the show from our front porch there in North Carolina, and they opened the show playing the music. And it was cool, man. It was really cool. Interesting. Well, can't find it. Here's something. Let's see. This might be interesting. I just lost it. Here we go. Let's see what this looks like. Hello, and welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB, and this show is all about ham radio. We welcome you tonight if you're listening out there on international shortwave on WBCQ on 7490, and we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com and let us know where you are and how you're hearing the station tonight. We're going to talk about just a couple different, I think, really neat topics tonight about ham radio and what we're doing in ham radio, so stick around. If you have internet access wherever you are and you're not familiar with the show, you can join our show live on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time on youtube.com/W5KUB. So tonight we've got a special guest. Let's see, is our guest here? Hey, yeah, come on in, and you want to join us? All right, come on in and pull you up a chair over here. Hey guys, hey. Welcome. How you doing tonight? Doing great, man. Thanks for inviting me to the show. Really enjoy this. I got an idea. I've got a project I'm working on. Why don't you host the show tonight? Would you like to do that? Hey, man, I'd love to do it. Thank you. Well, hello, and welcome to Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom Medlin, W5KUB, and this show is all about... All right. Well, that was my other brother, Tom. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, or figured that out. Okay, I'm going to check chat room again here real quick. Yeah, it's working. Yes, 47, it is working. Hello, Brett. How you doing, Brett?
Oh, pretty good. Just I was trying to get my desk camera working. I'm going to see if I can make that work.
Yeah. Well, I got you there. You're looking pretty good. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah. I was at my desk. The desk camera, for some reason, I plugged it into USB, and OBS isn't recognizing it.
Oh, yeah. It's funny sometimes how that stuff works, or doesn't work, you know. Let me see if I've got you lined up in the picture. You're going to be a little bit off center. You might can center yourself.
I can center myself.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, you can see the picture. Let's go to this.
I'll go this way.
Let's go. Let's see. Bam, bam, bam. There you go. I'll leave it on that one. That should help. You need to move to your left. I guess that would be camera to the right.
Camera this way.
Yeah.
And up a little.
All right. Well, I hadn't heard from Glenn yet tonight. He said if he came on, it may be audio only. He said he would be driving. I guess he's either heading back to Conway or he's heading back to South Haven, Mississippi here. I have no idea if he ever got his furniture, if they ever found his furniture and bed and clothes and delivered it. He may be still out on the road looking for it, you know.
Yeah, who knows? Boy, yep. I don't know. Maybe he's scanning all the truck stops to see what happened to the moving van.
Yeah. Let's see. Chat room. I don't want that.
But no, OBS is not recognizing my desk camera, and I don't know why. My desk camera, I'm wondering, I hope its USB connector is okay, because its light isn't coming on either. That isn't a good sign.
Well, yeah.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Its light did come on finally. Its video hasn't come on.
All right, we'll say hello to Hal. VA3HF joined us. Okay, it's about time to get the show started here. W8JES, John joined us. James is in there again tonight. That's cool. That's cool. Hey guys, we're going to give away a prize tonight. Hambot's with us tonight.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Hambot's here. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just kick this thing off and get started, and we'll see where it goes. So let me click a couple buttons here, and we'll get going here. Here we go. All right, we'll say welcome to everybody out there. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio, amateur radio, ham radio, shortwave, electronics, and a few other things thrown in there. We welcome you tonight, especially if you're out there listening on WBCQ on International Shortwave Station on 7490. We welcome you. Hey, if you will, send us an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us where in the world you are and how you're hearing the station tonight. It's coming to you from Monticello, Maine, right up on the border of Canada and Maine there. So there's several ways you can find us and watch us tonight. Of course, as I mentioned, WBCQ is our radio station. We have a 2-hour slot there every Thursday starting about 5 o'clock Eastern time. Also, we're on every podcast carrier you can think of out there, from iNet Radio to Google Play, Tumblr, iTunes, iHeart. I hadn't got them all on here. It was just starting to fill up too fast. If you will, join our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is called W5KUB. And it is real easy to find. Just up in the search on Facebook, just type W5KUB, and you'll find it. We've got about 14,000 members in our group. It's a great group there. We'd love to have you. We'll approve you just about as quickly as you can join us there. And if you will, hopefully you got a subscribe button. There should be a subscribe. I'm going to help you out here. There should be a subscribe button right down there somewhere, I think. And if you will, hit the subscribe button and hit the notify, hit the like. Boy, it helps us out a whole lot. Let's see, what's next here? We've talked about our Facebook group. Oh, hey, tonight, Hambot is with us. Hambot, are you here, Hambot? Yeah, Hambot's here with us. He said don't mess with him. He's going to give away a prize maybe in about 30 minutes on here, and we get a few more people in the chat room. So we've got a gift certificate that from R&L Electronics up in Hamilton, Ohio. And, it's good until, it's good until June the 11th of 2029. So, man, you got 5 years to use this thing. So, hey, Wow. I would use it pretty soon because in 5 years it probably won't be worth much, you know. All right. So anyway, hey, that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. Tonight we got several things going on here. As I mentioned, Hambot will be in here in a little while. We're going to talk about maybe some very basic reasons for matching your antenna or impedance matching. Maybe I've got some Baluns and some ununs here. I'm going to show you. Well, a couple of them are cut open. A couple of them are commercial that I just bought and opened up. I'm going to show you how pretty they are inside. So we're going to do that. Brett's going to help us out there. Brett's the expert on matching and all that kind of stuff, impedance matching and power transfer and all that. So he'll help us out there, and I'm just going to sit back and listen when we get to that part. So let's see, the Baluns and ununs are going to be discussed. And kind of what goes along with that is your random linked wire. Back in the old days, we used to call that a long wire. And nowadays, it's very popular antenna is the halfwave endfed. It's a very popular antenna now, and I'm going to talk a little about that and talk about mine out here and what I'm going to change up on it. I've got one out there, so we're going to do that. Okay, let's jump over to hey Brett. How you doing out there, man? How's the weather out there? You're muted, I think. I think you're muted. Are you muted?
I am not muted any longer. Yes.
There you go.
Well, we're having record high temperatures out here in Wyoming. Every day is over 90 degrees, and that's not normal for us. At least not up here at 7,200 feet. So I guess the good news is that it's sunny, but the bad news is it's very hot to work on the roofs, and I'm up on the roof trying to do some things with more antennas before fall and winter. So it's a challenge, but well, that's hopefully it'll cool off. It's probably going to be winter too soon.
Yeah. Well, it's tough going out there and working on antennas when it's really hot, but it's also tough when it's cold. So you got to kind of pick the right time of the year, you know. But I guess you're dealing with antennas year round, aren't you?
Yes, I am, and I'm also climbing towers year round. And this time of year, you know, the tower can get too hot to touch. So you put on your glove. If you've got to go up there, you put on your gloves and you climb anyway. And it's yeah, but you know, you have to do it, especially because my day job is internet, and people need internet. They can't be out even for an hour, so we need to maintain that.
Yeah, you know, I don't think probably a lot of our viewers may not know this, or we may have some new viewers, but you were, I think, the first person to start up is it called WISP, a wireless internet service provider?
Yeah, a wireless ISP, which is called a WISP for short. What happened was that I was in graduate school out in California at Stanford University, and my advisor, while I was out there, was a ham. And he was all excited when the FCC began approving unlicensed spectrum that you didn't need a license to do things with under Part 15 of the FCC rules, not Part 97 like ham radio is, because that meant you could use it for commercial purposes, unlike ham radio, and everybody didn't have to be licensed before you could use it. And so he got all excited about this. We began to build digital radios. And then the people at UC Berkeley, which is a football rival of Stanford, but they're very friendly otherwise, began building digital radios too. And then Lucent took the whole thing and built this thing called WaveLAN. And WaveLAN was a bunch of digital spread spectrum radios. They were really the granddaddy of Wi-Fi. And so what I worked on was, led to what we have now as Wi-Fi. Well, several years on, I went and moved to Laramie, Wyoming, and discovered that, there wasn't much internet other than dial-up out here. And people needed faster internet than that. So I looked into what was going on with the wireless stuff, and they had just approved under Part 15 some radios that could go several miles. So I went ahead, we got some, we set up an ISP, and we got some businesses that wanted to get a connection to the internet online. And
Mhm.
it just grew from there. We've been doing it ever since. It's now we reach tens of miles out of town to out into the county. We go places where there's no fiber. We go between mountains where people can't get reliable satellite. It's a lot of fun, and while it isn't ham radio, it's kind of related to it in the same way GMRS is or FRS. It relies on the same principles, and it really helps to have some ham radio knowledge in order to do it. A
Yeah.
lot. I go to Hamfests and pick up equipment for the wireless ISP because it's the same stuff,
Yeah.
just on a slightly different frequency.
So how is Starlink affecting you now? Now people out in the valleys and in the mountains, they got Starlink. Price wise and speed wise, how's that affecting you? Is it cutting into your WISP any?
That's an interesting question. A lot of people are big fans of Starlink. They've got, some people have dropped off our network to get it, but some of them have also come back.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is that Starlink relies on what they call low Earth orbit satellites. They're mostly in polar orbits. It means they go north to south. They don't go around the equator and stay in one spot in the sky. And the problem is, if you are in a canyon and you don't have a view of the whole sky, sometimes there won't be a constellation of those satellites overhead, and your internet will get weak or go away. Um,
Wow.
sometimes
Yeah.
there's uh, sometimes there's problems with the antennas, which have to be pointed upward. Sometimes there are problems with those icing over, although they did put heaters in them to try to stop that. And the final problem is that it's a lot more expensive to launch a satellite than to put up a tower or to put up an antenna on a building. Right now, Elon Musk is losing hundreds of millions of dollars on Starlink because he has all the same expenses that a wireless ISP has on the ground, being an ISP and has the tower and having the towers, but he also has to launch billion-dollar satellites up into the sky. And a couple of weeks ago, they lost a rocket which had 29 of those satellites. It just blew up. They were all gone. So
Mm-hmm.
Starlink is not profitable, and it's not clear what's going to happen in the long run. I hope for the sake of the people we can't reach that something is able to replace it. But eventually, when someone looks at the balance sheet and say, hey, this is a money loser, I hope they don't cut it off completely, because if, knowing our costs and knowing how when we sell internet, how little we make, and we make very little, I don't know whether something like Starlink is financially viable in the long run. We have to see.
I wonder. They had our friend astronaut Doug Wheelock. We've talked a little about this. They have internet on the International Space Station. In fact, I don't think Doug's going back up, but I had a secret deal with Doug where if he went back up on another flight to the space station, we were gonna do a show with them on it, and he agreed that we were going to do it. But I don't think that's going to ever happen. But I'm wondering now, and that surely had to be linked with some type, dishes back to in tracking to the space station. You think the space station might be? I would think you could connect to Starlink up here now pretty easy though, from a space
Well,
station. It's
interestingly,
almost
that
the
might
same.
be a good way to do it,
Yeah.
because if there's enough of those satellites in an orbit below you, and of course the space station is much higher than these low Earth orbit satellites, you could probably spot one or two of them. The tracking would be really difficult, but you might be able to spot enough of those satellites that you could connect with them and go back to Earth. I doubt they're using Starlink, though. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're using something that's proprietary to NASA.
Yeah, probably so. Well, it's an interesting point you made a minute ago about in the mountains, and you need a full view of the sky because there are thousands of these Starlink satellites up there, and you're kind of connecting to all of them as they move, or to different ones as they move. And if a mountain's in the way, you have a limited view of the sky above you. So I can see how that might kind of slow things down.
Yeah, it's just like a GPS. If you have a GPS and you don't have a clear view of the sky, it'll take a while to figure out where you are. And if you're indoors or if there's a lot of tree cover, it might not be able to tell where you are at all. Same thing with something like Starlink. If you have a lot of stuff overhead, can't see enough satellites, you might or might not get good signals. I mean, think of Starlink as just what we do, except the towers are a lot taller.
Yeah.
And the
And
radios on top of the tower are a lot more expensive.
oh yeah, yeah. All right. Well, that's very interesting there, and congratulations on being the first out there, man. Glad
Yeah,
to
well,
glad to have you here.
it was a good example of the way ham radio drives technology and
Yeah,
drives innovation.
yeah. I know ham radio and the design and building of things helped me out tremendously over years of my career, where I actually designed and built things based on ham radio that we needed. Hey, tonight we got several things going on. Hambot will be in here in a little while to give out some prizes. Let's see. We want to talk about the Baluns and so forth. I've got a little short here that I just want to mention. I told you guys I bought an amplifier. I don't know if you guys know or not, but I bought this amplifier at the Nashville Ham Fest 2 weeks ago. Let me show you what I bought. Guys, if you're familiar with a Clipperton L, this is a Dentron amplifier. This is a full legal limit amplifier. It's a very nice compact amplifier. This sucker weighs about 40 pounds. I mean, that sucker's heavy. I was huffing and puffing carrying this out to my truck. But anyway, I saw this on the table and look at the price that the guy had on it. Look at this, $25. Now,
Whoa.
now I'm thinking, okay, well, there wasn't any tubes in it. It uses just your basic 572B tubes, which are very readily available. Or you could actually put 811s in there. They're all interchangeable, run a little less power. But I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay, look at the front panel. It's got a power transformer in it. The high voltage transformer for one of these sells for around, if you replaced the transformer there, you'd pay almost $400 for it in today's market. So the transformer was in there, and the voltage doubler board was in there with all the diodes and capacitors, and all the tank circuit was all built. And I'm thinking, hey, I might put this thing back together, and instead of putting in a 572 tube, I thought, hey, I'll put a Russian tube in there or something, or I'll put a 4-1000 or a 4-250. In grounded grid, just about any tube will work in there. But there was a lot of wires that were cut, and I decided, well, I'm not going to do that. I don't need it. Don't need to waste my time on this. So I said, I'm going to piece this thing out. Now, guys, I spent $25 on this thing. So I pieced it out, and I want to show you what I did with this. First of all, I took the high voltage transformer out, and I put it on eBay for $200. And I started to get a few little hits, but it wasn't moving fast. So I thought, I only got $25 in this. I marked it down to $100, and bam, it sold for $100 plus shipping. Wow. So I've already got my money back. And then next, I pulled out this board. This is the voltage doubler board right here. And I think I put $40 on that, and bam, it sold just like that, man. And then let's see, what did I do next? Oh, there it is. You can see I'm taking the parts out of it right there. So next, I said, okay, hey, the tank circuit. Look at this. There's both capacitors, and there's the the inductors. It's all together. The band switch, all together. Somebody might want it, or hey, if you're building an amp, this is already built for you. Just stick this in the cabinet, man. Look at it. So I put that on there, and I accidentally put it in as an auction, starting at $50. And already I've got 6 people bidding on it. It's up to like $65 now. So then I took the front panel and said, "Oh, hey, let me give it a shot, man. I'm gonna stick the front panel out there." And I think I put $25 on the front panel, and bam, man, it sold instantly. Well, I said, okay, what kind of other parts I got left in this thing? Well, there's the 3-pole relay that was in there. I said, let me list it. I'm gonna list this relay for, I think I listed it for $25 plus shipping, and bam, it sold just like that, man. Now, I've got just a couple of things left. Here's the tube socket board right here that goes in there, and it's got a filament choke on it. That hadn't sold yet, so I'm still kind of waiting on that to move. But so already on my $25 purchase there, I made about $300 already on it. So what was wrong with the amplifier as a whole, James? I don't know. They were selling it for parts, and I can understand why. It was a lot. Most of the wiring was cut inside. It didn't have tubes in it. I could have put the thing back together, but I've got an AL80B amp and an alpha amp, and I thought I don't need this, and so anyway, I just wanted to recover my money. $25 turned into about $300, so that was a pretty good deal. So, guys, if you're into home brewing, parts are valuable out there. And I'm going to show you another little project I built, an amplifier I built back years ago. And I have $0 in it, zero. And this is it right here. Look at that. You see that case right there? That came off of a Heathkit. I think it was a Heathkit Apache. Somehow I came up with a Heathkit Apache. I shouldn't have done it, but I just tore it all to pieces just so I could have the cabinet. So I got the cabinet. I had a front panel that fit that cabinet. So I said, I'm going to build an amplifier. So I built my amplifier in there, all homebrew, and at zero cost. And I sold that at the Memphis Hamfest a couple years ago. I sold it for $100. And I gave the guy, I think, 6 extra tubes to go with it, man. So here's what it looked like underneath the bottom. Again, this is many years ago. My work is not perfect, but it turned out okay. You can see in here, you can see the filter capacitors that are all in series. I've got 8 capacitors in series. I've got them located in 2 sides of the chassis there. I've got the antenna switching, or the switching relay there in the center. Down at the bottom here, you'll see the filament choke and the tube sockets. Now, what kind of tubes did I use? I like using old military stuff. Again, zero cost. I had some 813s, 813 tubes. These are fairly good sized tubes. And a lot of time, the only amps I saw always ran 2 813s. They run a pair of 813s for a kilowatt. And I said, why don't I stick a third one in there? So I put a third 813 in there. And you can see the transformer bottom left there. That came out of a color TV. Color TVs had some very big, high capacity transformers in them. High voltage, high current. And of course, all your power transformers and TVs had a couple other windings. They had like a 5 volt. They had a 5 volt winding, which usually went to like a 5U4 tube or something like that. And then they had the 6 volt winding that would go to all the 6 volt tubes in here. If you don't use the 5 volt and the 6 volt windings, you can get more current. This transformer will actually provide a little bit more current. It won't get as hot, and you can do a little better with it. So that's a color TV transformer in the bottom for high voltage. I think my high voltage with the voltage doubler, I was somewhere around 2,000 volts, I think. No fancy cooling. You can see a little 4-inch fan that I stuck in the center there and kind of aimed it at the tubes. There's a picture of it from the back right there with the 3 813s in it. That's the filament transformer over on the right side there. And there it is again from the right side. You can kind of take a look, see the tank circuit across, and the layout of it there. And let's see, there it is again. There it is from the other side. So anyway, $100. Somebody got him a nice 813 amplifier with 6 extra tubes for $100. And I had $0 in that. It all was built out of the junk box and out of the parts in the attic and everywhere. And I had fun building that stuff. I think Glenn just joined us. I'm gonna add Glenn in here and see. So anyway, I just wanted you to see that that's an amplifier I built, and I thought about that Dentron amp, putting it back together or putting a different tube in it, but I decided, well, let's don't do that. Anyway, okay, I got more things to do right now, and there's Glenn right there. Glenn, where are you, Glenn?
I am just pulling out of South Haven, so I'm going to shut down the video here and put the phone down.
You are mobile. You're mobile right now.
Sitting in the car, yes.
Now, where are you, South Haven?
Yeah, I'm just pulling out from the old house.
Now, where are you going? You going to Conway?
Going to Conway.
You got about a 3-hour drive, man.
Yes, sir.
3 hours.
But the good news is the house is totally finished.
Hey, did you ever find your furniture?
Yes.
Did it all make it okay?
Pretty much, apparently. Some things were damaged.
Yeah.
But nothing critical. All right, I'm going to shut down the video here.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, very good. Okay. Well, just
I don't want to interrupt the show, but,
That's fine. Well, just stick with hey, stay as long as you want to with us, and, jump in here if you got something to say,
Well, I got 2.5 hours to go, so, yep, plenty of jumping in time.
Well, we'll at least see if we can get you to the bridge. Yeah. Hey, are both bridges open?
Yeah, but the 55 bridge is one lane.
One lane, okay. All right.
So the I-40 bridge is the bridge of choice.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But, it's all good. At least I'm going home.
Yeah.
Sleeping in my own bed. I mean, I've been, if you don't let me interrupt the show, but I can fill you in later or during the show or whatever.
All right. Well, very good. Handbot's going to be in here in just a minute. We're going to give out a prize, and then we're going to talk about Baluns and ununs and a few things like that.
Cool.
So I'm glad you're making your move okay there.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah. All right. Did the cats make it okay?
Yeah, they actually made the first trip.
Oh.
They love it.
Yeah.
They were real good for the trip.
Yeah. Okay. So. All right. Okay. Well, very good.
Yeah.
Let's let me do this. We'll be right back in about 40 seconds here, and then maybe we'll have Handbot come on in here in a minute, and we'll give this prize away. So, guys, we will be right back. Upgrade your station with one of ICOM's fabulous HF radios. With the IC7610, faint signals are no longer challenging for DXers or contesters. The high-performance RMDR can pick out the faintest signals, even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. This is the SDR every ham wants. With ICOM's IC905 Mobile, VHF contesting is a breeze. This is an all-mode rig covering 5 bands with one radio. 2 meters, 70 centimeters, 1.2 gigs, 2.4 gigs, 5.6 gig, and with the optional CX10G transceiver, it will also cover 10 gigs. This radio features a large touchscreen with real-time, high-speed spectrum scope and waterfall display, easy D-Star settings, and a separate controller and RF module configuration to reduce signal loss. Explore the world of microwave with the IC905. For more information on ICOM radios or dealer locations, go to icomamerica.com/amateur. Upgrade your station with one of ICOM's fabulous. All right, guys, we are back. Handbot is going to be back with us now, and Handbot is going to try to give away a prize. Let me show you what we got here. What am I looking at? What am I looking at here? That must be Brett. Yeah, okay. Didn't know. Didn't know what I was looking at. Look at here, I'm covering up, Britt. Okay. Guys, we're going to be giving away a, woo, that's not good, $25 gift certificate night. I won this at the, what Hamfest was it I went to? Nashville. Yeah, Nashville Ham. I won $25 at the Nashville Hamfest, and I spent $25 on an amplifier. So we're going to give away this $25. I don't need it. R&L's got a lot of neat stuff up here. This surely helps somebody. So, Hambot, let me get Hambot, come on in here. Okay.
That was actually, you actually won the first prize of the day there in Nashville.
Yeah. I did pretty good there. Well, I put the special fold on it.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
I didn't win anything.
I tell you, man.
Tell them how many tickets you have.
I had that one ticket.
Yeah, they only gave you one. They didn't sell extra tickets.
Yeah, I only had one ticket, but I put that special fold on it and got it pulled out. Okay, Hambot, go ahead, Hambot. And is Hambot already run? Hambot, take it away, Hambot. Oh, okay. This is for the $25 gift certificate. All right, I'm watching the chat room. All right, Hambot says it's going to be a $25 gift certificate for R&L Electronics, and we're donating it. All right, look at there. We're looking for, I know he's in here, AG4 ST. Phil, are you there, Phil? Did Phil answer? Yeah. Let's see. I see where Hambot said congratulations, but I didn't see, I mean, I know he did. Man, that was fast.
That was fast.
Hambot announced Phil, AG4ST. And it just says, congratulations, you were the winner. Okay. I didn't see Phil say I'm here, but he had to say I'm here because Hambot saw it and I didn't. Okay, anyway. All right, hey Phil, I guess you're good in the in QRZ. We'll be sending you this $25 gift certificate. And
I need his email address. I don't have it.
Okay. Phil, if you would, send me your email address to, just send it to Tom at w5kub.com. I don't think it's in, Hambot, I think, is indicating that you don't have an email address with your call. So send me your email address, Phil. And if you got a different address than what's in QRZ,
Doesn't have one in QRZ.
no, I'm talking about a street address. Street. I'm talking to Hambot right now. Does Hambot?
I've got his address.
Yeah.
On Jennifer Drive.
So Phil, if you're not on Jennifer Drive, sometimes people move and they don't update, their QRZ. So anyway, Phil, send us your email address to Tom at w5kub.com, and that'll help us out a whole lot right there. Thank you so much. Okay.
That would be me. I have not updated my address on QRZ.
That's right. And if you won a prize, we wouldn't give it to you.
Well, yeah. Story of my life right now.
Yeah. Let's see. All right. Very good. All right, guys. I'm gonna try to start giving away some prizes each week on the show. I've talked to my friend at Gigaparts, and I think Gigaparts may start working with us where we can give out a prize each week. It may be several weeks before I start that up. I'm going to wait until after probably the Huntsville Hamfest and the Shelby Hamfest, but we're going to try to get Hambot to run every week, every show, and see if we can get you guys some prizes out each week. Okay. Let's talk about some balance. Hey, Brett, why don't you jump in first and tell us why it's important to try to get this matching right?
Okay, Tom, can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
Great, okay. Well, the reason why it's important to match impedances is that you lose power at the transitions between your feed line and your antenna and your radio and your feed line at every transition that the RF has to go through on the way to its destination when there is an impedance mismatch. So it's really important to minimize those impedance mismatches. Otherwise, you can have a very powerful rig and your signal just won't get out there because it'll all be lost. It'll be reflected back down the coax, or it will just be lost. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show the equation for what's called the reflection coefficient. And I've just got some handwritten notes here. The reflection coefficient is the amount of energy, actually the voltage, that is bounced back from a transition in your RF path, usually in a feed line or going out to an antenna. And if you use Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law, and just common sense, the fact that when you short something out, the voltage goes to 0. When you open it up, the voltage goes to whatever it goes to. You come up with this equation, which says the reflection coefficient is the impedance you're going to, Z2, minus the one you're coming from, Z1, over Z2 plus Z1. And if you look at this equation, and you look at, usually a good way to understand an equation is to look at the limits. What happens when different things go to 0, when different things are equal, when the top of a fraction goes to 0, when the bottom of the fraction goes to, well, in this case, you don't want it to go to 0. You'll be dividing by 0, or when it goes to infinity. So let's look at a couple of the cases where you have transitions in a transmission line, and what happens under those conditions. We can see how this equation works. First of all, what happens if you take your coax, maybe this is your 50 ohm coax coming from your radio, and you put it into just a resistor, a dummy load, which is the same impedance as your transmission line is. So you have a 50 ohm transmission line, maybe you have a 50 ohm resistor out here in your dummy load. Well, if you take a look at the equation, you got 50 minus 50, which is 0. So it doesn't make a difference. If the numerator is 0, it doesn't make a difference what the denominator is. You're not going to get any reflection. All the energy is going to go into your dummy load, and it's going to be absorbed. And that makes sense. So we know our equation is working. Now, what if you go ahead and you do something like you short out the end of the coax? What happens then? Well, that's kind of interesting. Oh, I'm sorry. It must be the Garmin talking there.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So let's suppose we short the transmission line. So Z1 is whatever it is, and Z2 is 0. So now we have Z2 is 0, so we have negative Z1 in the numerator, and we have plus Z1 in the denominator. So what this says is if you short a coax and you send RF down it, it's going to bounce back, only it's going to be inverted. The voltage is going to be go the opposite way from the way it did. And that turns out to be true. And that's very handy, by the way, if you're trying to find a place where a cable is shorted and you use what they call time domain reflectometry. You'll get a pulse. You send a pulse down the cable. It comes back the other way. It's the opposite polarity. You can time it and tell how long it takes, and you can find the short in the cable. That's some good antenna analyzers will do that for you and help you find a fault in a cable. So anyway, a short will bounce back all of your RF, and it'll be inverted. Now, what happens if the cable just stops? It's just open. Well, then your Z2 is infinite. You got infinite resistance here. No current's going to flow. And so here you have infinity in the numerator, and you have infinity in the denominator. And what that says is you're going to get 100% of your RF reflected, but it's not going to be inverted like it was from the short. So it's going to come right back at you, and it's going to be the same polarity that it was going down the cable. And this is one of the things you have to be careful of. You get really high SWR, you could damage the output stage of your transmitter if you do this. But this shows what happens. All of the power is reflected back down the line. Now, what happens if you have an antenna here? This is the final case, and it has some impedance. Maybe it matches the impedance of the coax, maybe it doesn't. Well, you've got a fraction here that's now not going to be 0, it's not going to be 1, it's not going to be -1, it's going to be somewhere in between. And depending on how well your antenna is matched to the coax, you'll have different amounts of your RF being reflected and going through. And your SWR is a good score for how much of it is coming back down the coax at you and how much is going to the antenna. Now, if you have an antenna tuner right here, you can make Z2 approximately equal to Z1. It'll never be exact, but it'll be close enough. And so you're going to lose the least amount of energy to reflection going back down the coax and getting lost. And this is why you want an antenna tuner. Because, well, you only have so much power you can put out, and you want most of it to get to the antenna. So you want to match right here. And if you put your antenna tuner box right here, and the best kind actually is one that's right at the base of the antenna at the end of the feed line. The further down you go, the less it'll be able to do anything about the mismatch here. Then you're going to get the best possible match. You'll get the least reflected power. And again, SWR is a measure of reflected power. It's kind of a complicated equation, but suffice it to say, you get any more than, say, 2-to-1 SWR, you're wasting power. It's coming back at you, and it's not going out to your antenna. You probably want to see if you can improve it somehow. And well, that's what I have on why you want a Balun or why you want to have an antenna tuner.
All right. Well, I told you guys that Brett would know how this works, and he did a great job there explaining it. So, I back in the old days, we used to call it a long wire antenna, but nowadays it's called a random antenna, and that's where you're going to use a 9-to-1 Balun, or no, you're going to use a 9-to-1 unun. Let me rephrase that. So I put one up out there a while back. Actually, I put up a half-wave. I want to talk a little differences, and I was talking to Martin Jew about this today. The end-fed antenna versus the random antenna. First, let's say this. They're going to have different wave patterns for sure, different directivity, but that varies so much with any antenna from the height to stuff nearby, and it's just hard to say, what it's going to be, even if you try to model it. But, a half-wave end-fed is very popular now, and it works on the principle of the higher hand bands are actually multiples of the lower band, the 3.5 band, the 7, the 14, they're multiples. But then you get into, what is it, the WARC, is that what they're called, bands? It's been so long.
Yeah. Yep,
they're not multiples. They're not multiples, so you're not going to have a good impedance match there. And now, the half-wave and with the ununs and the ferrite cores and things, now you can make a very broadband transformer, broadband frequency-wise, and it can pretty much cover 3.5 up to 30 megahertz. So what do you do with the other two bands? So I'm starting to think, okay, let's talk about a random length. It's not resonant on any frequency, but if you can match that impedance close to where it matches your radio, and it's the same on all bands, 80, 40, 20, 15, 17, what is that, 17 meters, and what's the other one, 24 megs,
12.
What's that?
12,
yeah. I don't work those bands that much. So if you use a random, and you match that. Since it's not multiples, you got matching on all the bands. Now, Martin and I were talking today, and Martin says, if you can get the RF into a wire, it will radiate. And I'm beginning to think that a random length antenna might be just about as good as an end-fed half-wave. And I'm going to try, I think I'm going to try a random here pretty soon. I'm going to build one up and put it out there. So I put up a couple years ago, I've got a number of antennas out my antenna farm back there. I did put up a half-wave antenna, half-wave end-fed. So a half-wave end-fed. It's more vertical, but it's still a half-wave end-fed. And I built up a matching device for it. I'm going to show this to you. Show you how crude some of my stuff is. We'll see if I can.
Well, my first antenna that I get at the new house is probably going to be a half-wave end-fed.
Yeah. Well,
that's about all I can do at the moment. I don't have a tower yet.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a good practical antenna.
Yeah. Now, so I'm leaning toward experimenting and trying the random. Now look at this, guys. You know what this is? M&Ms.
Wow.
M&Ms, guys. M&Ms.
Yeah.
But this was my match outside for my half wave. The coax, went outside to the antenna farm, and I just put I selected the right inductor. It's a hand wound inductor, and you can see inside here I got a doorknob capacitor. And with the capacitor and inductor, I got a great match, man, like a 1-to-1 match on my end-fed half wave for 40 meters. The problem is, this is not a broadband transformer. This will only let it work on one band. It would only work on 40 meters. So in the modern days, they come out now with the ferrite cores, which are very broadband. And let's look at a unun for a half wave, and this is one by Baluns Designs. Guys, I want to tell you, this guy makes, see if I can't get it to focus. This guy makes some of the best Baluns you ever have put your hands on. Let me see if I can get a better picture there. A little watch that Baluns Designs. You can look him up on the internet. This is a 64-to-1 and a 49-to-1. So this is a little unusual in the fact that it's the 49 and a 64-to-1. And I didn't think about this a whole lot until recently. And so I'm thinking, okay, instead of buying a 49-to-1 and, some people use a 64-to-1, why couldn't you just put a tap on that inductor and make it both? And that's what they're doing now. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to show you how pretty these things are inside. I don't know if you can see that or not, but he does excellent work. High quality cores and high voltage cables here. And there's the 64-to-1 out on that side, and then if you look inside, it's just tapped right there to get your 49-to-1. Now, so I don't know if I'm going to need the 64 or the 49. Actually, as I said, a lot of your impedance is going to vary based on angle of the wire, the height above the ground of your ununs. Different things are going to affect it. You might even use a 30-to-1 or a 40-to-1 might give you a better match. So I'm going to be playing with that, I think, in the future. This is only 1 kilowatt. You can see he used dual cores in here. He's got 2 cores to handle the power. Some people build them with just 1 core, and they'll heat up. So he guarantees the stuff to handle the power. Here's one I had him build for me a while back, and this is a 2-to-1. Let's see.
Hey, Tom,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
can you determine ahead of time, or is it an empirical way to determine if you need the 64 or the 32 or whatever number of turns?
We can do that from the equations that I was showing. If you'd like, I can go back and talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, and you can tell us how to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want me looking at any charts right now.
I would have to do trial and error myself right here. All right, so I'm gonna open this one up. This is a 3,000 watt. Let me show you. This one he built is a 3 kW, and let me tell you, they are built. See if you can see that or not. Not very good. There we go. This is a 2-to-1. Now, let me tell you something. I have a quad. I have a delta loop outside, and all my reading says the delta loop should be about 100, 120 ohms. Now, if a delta loop is 120 ohms, you would think my match would need to be a 2-to-1. 50 ohms to 100, 50 to 100, that would be a 2-to-1. So I bought this 2-to-1 from him and tried it, but it did worse than my 4-to-1. My 4-to-1 gave me much better match. But you can see inside here, this 2-to-1, I guess when he built it, he had to do a little different on it, because to get the 2-to-1, he looks like he's used 2 cores in here. You can't really see it. He's used 2 cores, and I think he has paralleled these 2 different cores to come out with the 50 ohms. I think this gives him the 100 ohm to 50 ohm. So there's a lot of different configurations that you can do here.
Yeah, that's a current balun. The other one was a voltage balun.
Okay. All right, and my understanding is the current balun is probably your best balun to use in most cases.
Yeah, a current balun is the equivalent of an auto transformer. A transformer whose primary and secondary are connected together. A voltage balun has a separate primary and secondary.
Okay, all right, that's good to know. That's good to know. Now, let's look at. Hey, I got a couple of other things. Hey, here's some little balance here that came from. Let's see if we can get the thing to focus a little better. This came from LDG, I think. Yeah, LDG. LDG makes some, a little smaller. This is a balun here. This is a 1-to-1, balanced on one end, non-balanced on the other end. It's only good for 200 watts. You got to be careful on the power that you run through these things, because they will saturate. So that's a little 1-to-1 that we've got there, and then they also make one. Let's see, it might be in the same type, a little different color. This is a 4-to-1 that they make. This is not balanced. This is this is an unun.
Yeah. So the 1-to-1 is just to kill your comet mode current.
Yeah.
The 4-to-1 is if you're running an OCF dipole.
Yeah.
Because an OCF dipole, it's roughly 200 ohms. When you divide it, when you put the balun in the sweet spot, and if it's not exact, well, the LGG tuner takes over and compensates for the rest.
All right, so I like playing with PVC pipe. This is one I built years ago. This is a 4-to-1. I think that if I remember right, this has got a ferrite rod in it, if I remember right. But again, you hang your antenna off the eye bolts here, and you connect a wire to each side. So that was a 4-to-1. I experimented. I built. Look at this. This is a little bit bigger and heavier. Again, this is a 6-to-1 I built years ago. I'm not sure what I used. 6-to-1. That would match what? 6-to-1, that would be 6 squared would be 36.
That could be off center fed, or it could be I think maybe something like a G5RV might
Yeah,
use
yeah,
might
maybe
match
so,
there.
maybe so. All right, now, boy, this is getting back probably the early days of Baluns. I mean, look, this one looks a little pitiful to me, to tell you the truth. Wow, it's kind of corroded on the end, and this is a 4-to-1. I don't particularly like these little things here to connect your wire to. I don't know how you'd support. Oh, I know. This is made actually where you have a center conductor, a bone insulator in the center, then you just run the 2 wires down here. So this does not support the antenna. Let me show you a inside of a 1-to-1 air balun. Look at this. This is a commercial one we bought years ago. Boy, the old eye bolts are rusting. They weren't very good quality eye bolts. This actually was bought from a ham radio supplier. PVC pipe that it's wound on. Looks like 3/4 inch pipe. If you look real close, what happened to this one, I don't know if you can see it. You can see some looks like carbon right there, some arcing. It broke down and started arcing right there, and that's what made this one go bad. I had a video here I was playing, but I'm not going to play it. If your balun has been up a long time, you need to check it for water, because you will get water in it. And you know, the SO239 I assume is not waterproof. And where the bolts go through the plastic, I'm sure that's not totally 100% waterproof, although it could be close. But what happens is you get condensation in there. You know, you get air in there that's moist, and then it condenses in there. And I've got a video here where I actually drilled a hole in the bottom of an old balun and poured water out of it, poured quite a bit of water out of it. So I just want to show you some different baluns here. I'm hoping that I can put this 49-to-1 un on my half-wave endfed out there, and it's broadband enough that I have good match on multiple bands, instead of just using that homebrew deal out there, which gives me just one band. And I like resonant antennas, guys. I don't use a tuner inside the shack. I think the best place, and just like Brett mentioned, the best place to have that tuner is right out there at the feed line, and that's where I have my matching out there, and I also have a 1.5 kilowatt auto antenna tuner out there to match, and it works pretty good. But someday probably the moisture is going to get to it, or something's going to happen. It's going to go bad, and that's a lot of tuner.
Yeah, the MFJ, I think that's the one you have.
Yeah.
They made a really good outdoor full legal tuner, but there were only a few out there on the market. There were some European ones too.
Right, and that's the one I've got. You know, it's amazing to me. It's got a lot of relays on the board. It's probably, I'm trying to think back now. It may have 15 or 20 little relays on the board, you know, that select the different capacitors and inductors. You know, I'm amazed at nowadays the size of the relay compared to running a kilowatt through that thing. I mean, these relays, I'm talking, they're small. They're the size of a nickel or a dime. You know, small relays. I don't know how they do it. You know, back in my day, all our relays looked about like that right there. That's what we used for everything. You know. But anyway, hey, it's hanging in there and it's working, and you know, hopefully it'll keep going. Hey, I did talk to Martin today, and Martin, you know, their operation has really slowed down. He has about 10 employees still working, and they're working mostly in areas of like warranty repair in those areas. So if you got something in for warranty repair, they've got people there working on it. He's still trying, to close down at some point. It's not that easy. He has so many companies. It's just not that easy, to shut this thing down. And nobody's really willing to pick it up and buy it because it's just so much. And I think there are a lot of people that are kind of upset at Martin because he's shutting down 5 or 6 ham radio companies. But Martin's ready to retire. Martin's pushing 80 years old, and he's ready to retire, and he's already made his millions. And
well, as part of that too, look at how many of those companies he saved from going under back
yeah, in
day.
fact,
Mirage and Cushcraft and Hustler.
Well, that's what we talked
if
about.
not for Martin, that'd have been gone long ago.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. Those companies he bought and saved. Some of those antenna companies, they just weren't doing anything, and he brought them back to life. You can still buy parts from MFJ. I know they have some inventory. MFJ didn't keep a big inventory of completed systems. I'll call them systems. They worked more from the point of view that their dealers, well, basically their inventory, their dealers would order, X number antenna analyzers or tuners and put in stock. So MFJ really didn't, even though MFJ still sold to the public, they didn't keep a large inventory of anything. And they would usually build it as needed. All right, Brett, you were going to say something else a few minutes ago about the I guess the calculations of the unun or the Balun. We were talking about.
Yeah,
something.
The calculations for how to determine the
yeah.
number, the 64 to 1, 32 to 1, etc.
Yeah, how to determine what size Balun you might need, or what ratio you might need in your Balun or unun for a particular antenna. And I can go ahead and switch to my notes again and talk about that a little.
Yeah.
Here we go. So anyway, when you have an antenna at the end of a transmission line, and it's something like, say, an end-fed half-wave antenna, well, essentially what that antenna is another transmission line. It's kind of a leaky one because it doesn't have a shield around it, and it's radiating out to the outside world. So right here, the transition between the coax and the antenna, really you can think of it as a transition between your coax and another transmission line. And then if it's an end fed and the other end is just open, that other transmission line, that other thing which is not shielded, looks like a transmission line which is open at the end. And so that's how you can sort of predict the behavior of an end-fed half-wave. If an end-fed half-wave is perfect, if it's exactly a half-wave of the frequency you're transmitting at the moment, it's really unlikely to happen, but it could. Well, from this equation, we know that if we have an open end, your signal is going to bounce back at you exactly in phase with the signal that you're going to send, right? And so if it's coming back at you, same voltage that you sent, essentially you're going to be putting in all this voltage and getting zero current. That's an infinite impedance. And so your impedance would essentially be infinity. Now, in real life, that's it's never perfect, and also some of the energy is leaked out as the as the RF has gone back and forth. So it's not really, when it comes back to you, it's the impedance isn't quite infinity, but it's really high, and that's why when you have an end-fed half-wave, you use a Balun with a really high ratio. Because, well, the effective impedance, the effective impedance on the other side of a transformer or a Balun, is it's scaled by the ratio from one side to the other. So if you have a resistance on, say you have a 49 to 1 Balun, the resistance on the far side looks 49 times smaller on the other side, on the side near your transmitter. And so this helps your transmitter to cope with the fact that it looks like it's broadcasting into an infinite impedance. Now, how high is that impedance? Well, it depends on how well your half-wave antenna is matched to the frequencies you're at, which could even depend on which end of the band you're on, whether you're down at the low end at the CW end or if you're up at the high end at the SSB end. And so sometimes the easiest way to determine just how high an impedance you have at a particular band and which balun's going to work best is to take out an antenna analyzer and measure. And most antenna analyzers will give you the impedance at a particular frequency. So you turn your antenna to the analyzer to the frequency of interest, you take an impedance measurement, and then you can see what you have to do in order to bring it back down to somewhere near the impedance of your 50 ohm coax. Now, what if you have a different kind of antenna? Instead of just having an end-fed half wave, well, you might have an OCF, an off-center fed dipole. Those are kind of in between. You get reflections from both legs, but the legs aren't equal and they come back out of phase. In general, for an off-center fed antenna, you need about a 4-to-1 balun to make that work. And dipoles, well, that varies a lot, but usually, if it's a dipole with two equal legs, usually it's a neighborhood of 6-to-1. It's about 300 ohms, which is a reason why people used to use 300 ohm ladder line a lot to connect to them. And so, again, you can figure out what impedance you need either by hooking up an antenna analyzer or just knowing what kind of antenna you've got at the far end and looking at this equation. What you want to do is you want to minimize the amount of power that gets reflected back to you and maximize the amount of power that stays in the antenna and gets out to the outside world.
All right, that's good. I noticed on my Delta loop that I took the I've got a 41 balun on it, and I took it out and I clipped my antenna analyzer across the two leads of the Delta loop, and just to see what the SWR meter would not SWR, but the antenna analyzer would read. And it looked like it was reading somewhere under 4-to-1. And it looked like the impedance was somewhere under 200 ohms. So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah.
4-to-1, that'd be a 200 ohm antenna.
Yep, and delta loops vary a lot depending on what the match is and what band you are and how close you are to the center of the band. I always use a remote antenna tuner with delta loops because it can vary so much from one end of the band to the other, even more than with an off-center fed dipole. But yeah, if you've got to put a fixed one there, 4-to-1 isn't somewhere between 2-to-1, 4-to-1 is not a bad choice.
Yeah. Well, my 4-to-1 matches it much better than the 2-to-1, so I put the 4-to-1 back on there. I always thought about, and the thing about the Delta loop is it's the SWR is under 2-to-1 on multiple bands, because it's a harmonic antenna, the 3.5, well, not actually it's the lowest band is 7 on mine, 7, 14, 28. So that the match is fairly good. I don't really have to have a tuner on it. My amplifier will shut down if it's above 2-to-1. So I like resonant antennas that are very close. So I don't have another kilowatt antenna tuner. I've got that on an extended double zip out back. I've got an extended double zip, which is basically it's basically like a doublet fed with open line wire, and the legal limit amplifiers at the bottom, the feed there, and so it's more like a doublet. It's two, I think it's a 5/8 wave. It's 5/8 on each side. It's about 170 something feet long total to give you my extended double zip. So I've got the tuner on that. It'll tune, I guess, probably to any band with that MFJ tuner at the bottom of the feed line. I typically run it on 40 meters only. I might can move that tuner over and put it on the delta loop. I mean, that would work great too. But I don't know which antenna would be better, the extended double zip or the delta loop. The delta loop is actually pulled up. A delta loop has 3 sides. And my loop kind of almost has 4 sides. It's a full wave for 40. But how I pulled the 2 corners out, I actually had a rope tied to the center and I pulled it up high. So it's more like a diamond, with the top pointed up and a point at the bottom and a point on 2 sides. So it's more like a loop, a quad loop than it is a real delta loop. But it's still
the delta loop. You can have 2 kinds of delta loops, one with a long side at the top and one with a long side at the bottom.
Yeah.
And they have advantages and disadvantages. If you have the long side at the bottom, you have a lower takeoff angle. If you have the long side on top, then the pattern is different and it's sometimes better. It's more omnidirectional with the long side on the top.
Yeah, and if you feed it in the corner, it becomes vertical, I think. If you feed it in the middle of one of the sides, it's horizontal, I think.
Yeah, well, I have one that I feed in the middle that has a long side on the bottom, and I don't feed it quite in the middle. I feed it maybe one third of the way over.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly horizontal.
Mm. Yeah, of course, it's hard to tell what you really have, especially if you start pulling it up in a tree and the thing about a quad loop, basically, you can put it in any shape you want to. Hexagon, triangle, square, you can put it in any shape as long as you get that. A full wave up here. Just about any shape will work. So, what direction is it? Vertical? Is it horizontal? I don't know. It just works.
Yep, and loops are fun because, whatever you got, you can use your rain gutters as a loop. There's all sorts of things you can do. You can run the wire all over the place, and again, as long as it's longer than your wavelength, or at least equal to it, you're going to be able to tune it up on that band pretty well. If it's shorter than your wavelength, you may have trouble.
Yep. All right. Hey, Glenn, have you made it to the Mississippi River yet?
Oh yeah, we're well into Arkansas, keeping our eye out for those Arkansas troopers that want to chase me. You know how that works.
You better be careful, man. They're my favorites. They will pit you at 150 miles an hour.
Oh man, if they pit me right now, there's going to be a lot of stuff strewn on the road.
Well, look, man, I watch those every day, and just don't do this. If the guy pits you at 150, after you stop and he gets out and he walks up to your window, and then you take off, and then he chases you and you stop and he walks up to your window and you take off again. Well, you're just ticking him off. Let me tell you. And,
oh yeah.
And let me tell you. When they do pit your car at 150 or 160, don't say, "What did I do? What did I do?" Don't say that, man.
No, actually, believe it or not, when I get out of Memphis, because in Memphis, if you do the speed limit, you will get run over.
Yeah.
But as soon as I cross that bridge, the first sign you see is speed limit X, 0 tolerance. You will get pulled over. Yeah. And at that point, I drop the cruise control down to whatever the sign says.
Yeah, most of the pits that I watch, they're all around the Little Rock. I mean, they're statewide, but they got a whole lot more around Little Rock, and that's where you are now. You're there at Conway, so
right.
They probably driving. They're coming right by your house, man.
Yeah, at that split between 30 and 40 is where they really congregate.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, to be honest, the drive over here is 1,000 times better than driving on 40 or 240 over in Memphis area.
Yeah.
It's
So,
a very pleasant, relaxing drive.
So I know I guess you came back to do some touch-up painting and stuff like that. Have you finished all that at your old house?
I actually finished that this afternoon.
Okay.
The biggest thing is I had to put a fresh coat of paint on everything in the house.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And because, it's 30 years of wear and tear.
Yeah.
Had to completely repaint the kitchen cabinets. And then I had to completely reseal the floors. And, of course, all that requires prep and all this.
Yeah.
Along with the 2+ year refurbishment I was doing on the rest of the house in terms of siding and deck and all that stuff. And it just all hit at once,
Yeah.
And try living without a bed for 7 days.
Well, you needed a
Been
blow.
there, done that, but not since college.
Yeah.
You needed an air mattress or something.
Well, I ended up buying a folding cot that was a lifesaver.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, the big thing is the way the move was quoted and presented to me was we come and pick you up and we deliver you same day or next day.
Yeah.
Well, same day or next day ended up being 7 days later.
Ooh, man.
And yeah, we're having a little discussion about that. But in the meantime, I had set aside stuff that I did not want them handling,
Yeah.
fragile or critical or whatever. And as it turns out, that was a good move in one respect because every box arrived crumpled. They broke the legs on my headboards.
My goodness.
Just a bunch of odds and ends like that. And but in the meantime, it turns out that I had way too many boxes I didn't want them to handle.
Yeah.
And I have been making full carload trips hauling that stuff over, and it turns out that it's to the tune of about 60 boxes.
Well, Glenn, you should have suspected.
So in addition to all the work,
you should have suspected this company was not quite up to par when they moved your entire house 200 miles for $49. You should have suspected something.
Well, they originally quoted me, 35, and they kept jacking the price up, So, yeah, I thought $49 was a good deal.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but no, it was just a can't use the word, but let's just say that there was a lot of errors and screw-ups on their part to the point that they are actually pulling all of the audio tapes and all of the reviews to evaluate just how bad they messed up.
Yeah. Hey, there was something else I was going to do tonight. Man, I forgot about it. We may go a little later tonight. For us to stream on X, Twitter, I had to actually pay. I had to get a paid account for Twitter. And if you guys see our post, you'll see we got the little blue check mark. Now, I didn't get the gold check mark. The gold check mark costs you $10,000 a year. So I just went with the blue check mark. But with the blue check mark, I get Grok, Grok, Grok. That is a artificial intelligence. And I want to do something right here. Let's play with the artificial intelligence for ham radio. Let me get the keyboard here. And
I actually thought that was Grok, which is a
well,
Robert
you're probably
Heinlein
right. You're probably right. It probably is Grok. Okay, so let's do some ham radio AI here real quick. Let me get a moment. Okay, so I'm going to type in. I got a couple questions here. Pre-thunk. Okay. I'm going to get some questions. I'm going to pre-thunk. We're going to try to stump it right here. Okay. I'm going to type in. Okay. Here's a good question here. I'm going to type in to Grok. And let's see what he said. Hey, and he gets the answer real fast, man. I'm going to say. What is the current through a 100 ohm resistor with a voltage across it of 200 volts? I'll make it easy. Okay. So let's see. We're going to see how fast Grok can answer this. Here we go. Let's see. Let me adjust the screen where you can see it a little better. All right. Let me get where my mouse at? There it is. Okay, here we go. All right, I'm going to hit the enter. Let's see. There we go. All right, he's thinking. What's the current through a 100 ohm resistor with a voltage across it of 200 volts? And he says it's 2 amps. That is correct.
Yes, it is.
That's correct. Okay, let's try something else here. Let's see. Hey, here's a tricky one. I'm going to ask it if aluminum can be an insulator. Glenn, do you think aluminum can be an insulator?
Oh, heck no.
Okay.
It doesn't do real good as a wire either.
Oh, wait a minute. If I can spell it, aluminum, is that right? Nope.
ALUMINUM.
I can't see my keyboard. Yeah, I can't.
Unless you're in England.
Yeah, I can. Aluminum.
Yeah, then it's aluminium.
Can aluminum be used as an insulator? Oh, my keyboard bad. Okay, you say no, it can't be used as an insulator?
That is correct.
All right, let's just see what he has to say here. I'm going to hit enter. Here we go. There you go. He's thinking. Aluminum is a good conductor of electricity, so it can't be used as an insulator. It's like trying to use a piece of cheese to block a mouse hole. Okay? Now,
bad analogy, but at least it got the right
now,
answer.
let me tell you. I asked that same question earlier, and he said it was a good insulator. But he was talking about for heat, not electricity.
It's not that either.
I know.
Yeah, I was going to say
Okay.
it conducts heat fairly well.
All right. Let's see if a 12 volt 30 amp power supply will kill you. Okay, let me type that in here. Okay. Will a 12 volt 30 amp power supply
Actually, it can.
kill
But
you?
there are
Okay.
certain circumstances.
All right,
It must have.
So I'm asking him right now, well, can it kill you? You're saying it can. Okay,
Yeah.
here's what he says. Bam.
Under certain circumstances, it can kill you.
It can deliver a lot of power, but it's not likely to kill you. It's like trying to kill
No.
a fly with a bazooka. What?
But if it is a
It says it's
one of the
possible.
old, but if it's one of the old, transformer-based power supplies, and it's 30 amps for that transformer, if it falls on you, yes, it'll kill you.
All right, now here's one. I think I can stump it.
Yeah.
I think I can stump him here.
Yeah.
All right, so here we
Maybe
go.
electrocute the shark.
Here we go. I think
Yeah.
I think I can stump him here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put two filter capacitors in series. So I'm going to say here, if I put two 100 MFD microfarad 450 volt capacitors in series, what is the new value? Okay. All right, let's see what he says.
$20.
What? What's that?
About $20.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what he says. He says The new value is 50. That's correct. What? Oh, and he got it right. 900 volts. Because when you put them in series, it's gonna, if they're equal value, it's gonna half it. So two 100s are gonna be 50, and two 450 volt capacitor in series is gonna be 900. I asked him this question yesterday, and he told me the answer was 450 volts. Today he's telling me 900 volts, which is correct. Yesterday was wrong. Let's see. Let's see what components are needed to construct a ham radio high voltage power supply. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's start giving you some phase angle AC questions.
Are needed to construct a ham radio high voltage power supply. Okay, so what components are needed to construct a ham radio high voltage power supply? Let's see what he says. And he says,
Researching.
okay, he says you need a transformer, a rectifier, a filter capacitor, voltage regulator, I don't know, heat sink probably, maybe.
This is assuming a linear power supply.
A case, you need a case.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also need a few other things such as resistor diodes and connectors. Hey, he didn't do too bad. Okay, I'm going to ask him, I'm going to ask him who is the most famous ham radio operator in Collierville, Tennessee. That's where I am. You know, this is a small town of 50,000 people here. So I'm going to ask him, who is the most famous ham radio operator in Collierville, Tennessee? All right, here we go. All right, what's it? He's looking, he's researching. Paul Wilson, W4HHK, and that is true. Paul is a silent key, but Paul still has at his house here in Collierville in the backyard, it's like a 40-foot dish in his backyard. He was receiving all the Apollo stuff and helping NASA when they would lose the signal. Paul was able to help NASA receive the Apollo signals. So that's right. It's Paul Wilson.
That's very cool.
Yes, I thought, I was hoping he'd say me, but I guess I don't rate,
Yeah, no, you're not famous enough yet.
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, we'll try one more here, guys, real quick. Okay. How do I protect my ham radio equipment from lightning? All right, here we go. Bam.
Get the AWR around.
And he's thinking. There he goes. Protect ham radio. You need to disconnect. That's good advice. Lightning arresters, okay. Ground your antennas equipment. Okay. Protect other connections. Maintain your lightning protection system. Remember, while these steps are significantly reduce the risk of damage to your equipment, it's impossible to guarantee complete protection from lightning. But by following these guidelines, you'll be well on your way to keeping your ham radio safe and sound. And if all else fails, you can always try the age-old technique of unplugging your equipment and hiding it under a blanket until the storm passes. It's not foolproof, but it's better than nothing. Okay. All right, guys, that was AI. So we got that in. All right. Let's
cool.
see what this is in the chat room. I didn't have a chance to read the chat. Amateur radio round. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm going to ask him about amateur radio roundtable. Okay. What do you think about Amateur Radio Roundtable? All right, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to put it on the screen so you guys know I'm not cheating. Let me get it on the screen here. Bam. Okay, here we go. Fixing to hit the enter key. And he's thinking. What? What do you think about Amateur Radio Roundup? Something went wrong. Why did it go wrong? I'll hit try again. He's researching. There we go. Okay, the Amateur Radio Roundtable seems to be a popular gathering of both on their live webcast and in their discussions. It's like a virtual clubhouse for radio nerds where they can talk about everything from balloon launches to digital modes. They even have guests like Michael Coulter, who's famous for the Dayton Hamvention. Great way to hams to connect with each other, learn about the latest trends, blah, blah, blah. It's a good opportunity for hams to show off their knowledge and skills. But let's be real. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Some people might find discussions to be a bit too technical or dry, and others might not like the idea of being on a live webcast. And let's not forget about the occasional technical difficulties or internet trolls that can disrupt the conversation. But overall, the Amateur Radio Roundtable seems to value the resource for the ham radio community, and it's a great way for hams to stay connected. Well, that was pretty good. That was good. That was pretty good.
What is today, Tom? Is it the 6th? No.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Today's
Well,
August 6th.
something to think. I'll be honest. I really cannot. I have lost total track of days, dates, everything.
Yeah.
But we've got the Huntsville Ham Fest coming up in about 2 weeks. I will be doing an Arduino forum there. I believe it's Saturday morning around 10 a.m. And assuming I can get a shower and a shave between now and then, it's been touch and go. But anyway, I will be doing a forum there on Saturday morning. And then my new book is out. I have not seen it yet, but it's available from ARRL, and they will be there, hopefully with a stash of them.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And let's see, what is the other? We've had some communication back and forth as part of this move. One of the discussions is they want me to write about 2 or 3 more books. And so we're going through topics now.
You're making me tired.
I don't even have a... Do what?
You're making me tired.
Yep, I do not even have a computer set up in the house. I got my laptop, and that's it. And I haven't even turned it on in a week.
Yeah. All right, that's a good point. Let me just mention that to everybody. They're asking. Yes, I will be, and Glenn will be, and Brett will be, I think, at Huntsville Hamfest. And that's coming up not this weekend, but the weekend after this coming weekend. It'll be there. It's going to be a great Hamfest, guys, at the Von Braun Center. We're going to be right there. So we're not streaming. We will get some video, but we're going to walk around, talk, and visit with people. I'm going to buy junk amplifiers where I can sell the parts. We're going to have a good time. And then from there, I'm heading over... about 10 days later, 2 weeks later, I'm heading over to Shelby, North Carolina, to the Shelby Hamfest. Guys, back in the 90s...
I want to go there one year.
This used to be a very big one. Back in the 90s, they had 20,000 people attend. I think the attendance is down low now. It's like in the 3,000, but it'll still be a good one, and we're going. So we'll see you there. I'll probably have my red shirt or my blue shirt on. You guys find me there at Huntsville and say hello.
I promise to have a clean shirt on. That's about all I can promise.
Okay. Well.
But now one thing to mention about Huntsville is no matter how hot it is outside, and right now it's been 95, almost 100 degrees every day, it's all indoors at the Von Braun Center, air conditioned, large, nice. It's a really good facility.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Glenn, where are you? Have you made it to? You made it past Forest City?
I really don't know where I'm at.
Well, what mile? What mile marker? Have you made it to mile marker 200 yet?
I'm at 230, so I still got 30 more miles to
Oh,
go to
yeah.
even get there.
That's the White River. Okay.
Yeah.
230.
We're just tooling right along.
230, and your exit is what, about 150?
Oh, I haven't even learned that yet.
Your exit's going to be 150, maybe 160, somewhere in here. So you got a little ways to go. You got another hour to go.
Oh, I've got, according to this, I'm going to get in at 11:06.
Yeah.
So that's, an hour and a half to go.
Yeah. Okay, very good.
But the good news is I'm going home. I will be back in South Haven in about 4 days, and I'm going to be coming back about every 4 days to mow the lawn and stuff like that and haul another sensitive load of stuff back. Got about 5 trips of that left.
Oh, wow.
Like cats, probably.
Oh, the cats are already there. The cats are in the new house just chilling.
Mm-hmm.
They've settled in. They're having a blast.
So they own the house already.
Yeah, a friend came over with their little daughter, and Otis he and her were best buddies, and he had her wrapped around his paw. So,
all right, guys, we're
completely out of the South Haven house, other than hauling boxes.
We're going to say good night to everybody. Glad you joined us tonight, whether you're listening on shortwave or you're watching the video. We're glad to have you. Come back next week, be with us, and we'll see you later. Thanks for watching tonight.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question. It will reply. There the answer goes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.